One of the prophetic words over Sound of Wales is that children will figure more and more prominently, as Sound of Wales progresses. Can you talk to us about the 1791 Bala? And again, is it Merioneth? That was an outpouring that was impacting children, particularly in North Wales. I think it lasted 2 years. And
yes.
then the one in Beaconshire, near St. David's, Clond, I'm not going to pronounce it, 1790. Clond, WRTWD.
Llanwrtyd?
Yes.
Llanwrtyd.
And then there was one in Ainsley where a young man's reading Romans 5:6 for while we were weak, yet at the right time Christ died for him. And there was an outpouring. So those three seem to be the most mentionable, but the role of children in revival in Wales.
In Wales, there's quite a bit to say, I think, about the role of children, believe it or not, and the role of young people as well. Mm-hmm. So in the revivals you talked about, the 1791, if I'm correct, lots of these revivals were linked with the growth of the Sunday school movement. Mm-hmm. So the Sunday school movement in Wales really began with a man called Griffith Jones from a place called Llanddowror. Yeah. Okay, Griffith Jones, and he was the grandfather of the Methodist revival. Mm-hmm. He was interested in making sure that people got to know the Bible and that young people were taught to read in order to read the Bible, and that older people were able to read as well.
So he was like the father of biblical literacy, in a sense. Was it 200,000 people?
I am going to say that's a good word. I can't better that. Okay. The father of biblical literacy in Wales, or popular biblical literacy in Wales. Mm-hmm. So he's around in the beginning of the 18th century, and he is there for people like Howell Harris, Daniel Rowland. He is there as a father figure who's in the Church of England. He's a minister in the Church of England. He's not an extremist. He sometimes differs on emotionalism with the three main revivalists, but he is there. He's giving them he's involved in preparing children. Mm-hmm. So this continues, and then you can jump in if you like. That grows, but then it goes down by, I think, about the mid-century, and then there's a restart to the Sunday school movement with a man called Thomas Charles from the Bala. Okay, the Bala. Great man of God, very balanced man of God, influenced by, he's the second generation of the Calvinistic Methodists, very well educated, wrote a number of things, but really on fire for God. And so what he does is prepare the way for Sunday schools to come, for kids to be together. Now, I was reading lately just one or two instances of children being the the sparks of revival. Mm-hmm. One of the this could be said, for instance, of the revival at Beth Gelert. This is a huge revival, beginning in 1817 in North Wales. Beth Gelert now is a tourist place. It's a lovely place right in the midst of Snowdonia. It's gorgeous. But in the beginning of the 19th century, it was very farming. Do you understand? Little bits all over the place. Mm-hmm. And there were Sunday schools there. And the story goes that there was one Sunday school in that area. And the young girls were coming together for a Sunday school class. And they were reading John chapter 14. And one of the girls couldn't help but be totally moved. And they all began to weep and cry as they read John chapter 14. Something was happening in the same meeting, if I remember correctly. The leader of the Sunday school, I think it was the leader of the Sunday school, stands up and says, he begins to speak about a hymn. He's giving out a hymn at the end. So that sort of thing. You need to check it up. You can read on the Beth Gelert revival with Ariel Davis's work in English on that revival. Ariel was my pastor for a number of years, and a great man, and he wrote in detail about it. And then he gives out a hymn, Mae'r something sicraf fri, Mae'r afael sicraf fri, which means the grip, the most secure grip is from heaven. Okay, that's a very bad translation of it. Mm-hmm. And this, he recognizes that this is wonderful. This is the chorus, so he says it again and again and again, and then he begins to move into preaching it. He says, well, this above is the best. Above is the best. Above is better than below. And he goes into this whole riff, if you like. And it's obvious that God is just sweeping through the young people there, as well as the older people. In the same revival, one young person stays, he has a bad leg. He can't, he's disabled. He can't go back home and then come back to church. So he stays in the church while the next meeting, waiting for the next meeting. And he begins to pray. And before long, all the children begin to come in and to pray. And you get this time and time again, children praying, children calling on God. There was one man in Wales who was, I can't remember his first name offhand. He was called the Apostle of Children. And he would travel around Wales, apostol a plant, and he reached thousands of young children for Christ. So time and time again, you've got young people. You've got young people in the 1904 revival. In that case, it was young women. The youngest really was round about 16 in the team that Evan Roberts took around with him, 16 or 17. But these were young people, and Florrie Evans is the woman, in West Wales, who stands up in that meeting. This is pre-Evan Roberts was involvement. Stands up in the meeting and says, "I love the Lord Jesus with all my heart." And then, bang, something happens. It's young people. And one of the things people noticed with the 1904 revival was it was led by young people. The young people were at the front. Now, Evan Roberts himself, he was 24, 25, was regarded as young compared to other people.
Yes.
All right, compared to
they are.
All right. So you do have the young people being involved time and time again. Although at times it's older. I can't call it. What's going to happen in Wales? I have no idea. I stopped prophesying a long time ago. I don't know. But I think all ages to be open to what God does. And you see, I said this, a different thing I was doing in Wales literally 2 weeks ago with the leadership conference in Wales. So I did a film and I sent the film to them because I couldn't go.